This is a 10:30 meeting of Recreation and Park Commission and the Planning Commission. Would the Secretary please call the roll?
Okay, so for the Recreation and Park Commission, Commissioner Buell.
Here.
Commissioner Lowe.
Here.
Commissioner Harrison.
Here.
And Commissioner Leviton.
Finally here.
Okay.
And for the Planning Commission, Commission President Fong.
Here.
Commission Vice President Richards.
Here.
Commissioner Antonini.
Present.
Commissioner Moore. And Commissioner Wu.
Here.
We do expect Commissioner Hillis and Johnson to both be here.
Okay, so just a quick reminder before we get started, if you could please turn off any sound producing devices that may go off during the meeting. Everyone will have 3 minutes to speak under public comment, and neither the commissions nor staff will respond during public comment in order to allow equal time for all. But once public comment is done, the commission may ask staff to respond to comments or questions. And with that, we have one item before the joint commissions today. It is item number 2 on the Recreation and Park Commission calendar, and item number 1 on the Planning Commission calendar, which is case number 2016-00463-4CWP. It is the Downtown Park Fund allocation, Willie Woo Woo Wong Park renovation. If staff could come forward.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. Sue Exline with the Planning Department. The item before you today is the allocation of $4 million from the Downtown Park Fund for the renovation of the Willie Woo Woo Wong Playground. Don Kamalanathan from the Park Department is going to give a more detailed explanation about the proposed renovation. I just want to make one correction on the staff report. So under the environmental review, it is not statutorily exempt. It is categorical exemption from CEQA guidelines under section 15301. So we'll make that edit. So attached and included in your report today is the staff report from the Rec Park Department, as well as for the Planning Commission, a resolution. So at the end, we will ask you to vote on that resolution, commissioners, planning commissioners.
Right, just to clarify, it's just the Planning Commission that has an attached resolution. Okay?
Thanks. Good morning, Commissioners. Dawn Kamalanathan, Director of Planning and Capital Management for the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department. I'm here today to just provide you with a very brief presentation on overview of the Willie Woo Woo Wong playground renovation, which is the use we're proposing for this $4 million of the Downtown Park Fund. Just to review, sorry, this is a very old map, but it was the one we could find, just showing the C3 use district. The downtown park funds are eligible for any use that provides park use for the C3 zoning district downtown daytime population. And so you can see Willie Woo Woo Wong is right on the edge of the physical district, but definitely we feel like still serves the daytime population of those users, as open spaces are generally hard to come by in these neighborhoods. Just a little bit, a few photos of the existing conditions. Willie Woo Woo Wong Playground is an extraordinarily dense part of Chinatown. It's about 2.5 blocks walking distance from Portsmouth Square at Sacramento and Stockton. And you can see from a few of these photos that the facility is very outdated. And it's actually it's about 6/10 of an acre. It's a very small space that we try and really squeeze as much use out of as possible. And so it's noted for having different types of courts. It has a playground, it has a clubhouse, and it's all occurring in this very tight space. So what we've tried to do through the proposed renovation is really think about ways that we can still continue to have all those existing uses, but in a way that feels more integrated at the site, because it's very fragmented right now. The design, which Conger Mosque Yard, in collaboration with the community, has come up with, is, I think, in response to the feedback, preserves all those uses, and it adds, for both ADA access and also to improve the functionality of the site, a bridge that kind of would connect from the top of the clubhouse across the site to the courts on the other side that border the alley. The thought here is that there would be a playground underneath that sprawls in kind of they call it discovery play, is is the theme that would really incorporate a lot of sculptural elements. So both a mixture of kind of our standard playground equipment as well as some custom items to really create a strong visual identity for the space. And this just takes the bridge off so you can see what's underneath it if you were to walk through the site. This schematic just attempts to show the difference in the two levels and creating two different zones for kind of active recreation sports on the top and the bottom being focused on youth and top play areas. With some renderings, what we could look like. So if you've been to the site right now and understand the clubhouse is actually a very awkward space. It's a very tall, narrow box without a lot of functionality inside. And that's been one of the ongoing challenges of the space. And so actually in 2011, when we were scoping the 2012 bond projects, we only allocated a minimal amount of money for repairs to the clubhouse because there's been feedback in other parts of the city that when we've spent bond dollars to renovate clubhouses, there's been and then lease those out to community partners, there's been pushback. So we tried to take account of that feedback as we developed the bond. However, as we started the community process a few months ago, we heard the opposite feedback from Chinatown neighborhood residents and our community partners saying that there was very strong support, given the scarcity of community facilities in Chinatown, to continue the clubhouse and to really try and find a way to make a substantive renovation of that clubhouse to continue to serve seniors and youth in the area. We were talking about how to reconcile that with the fact that we only had $6 million available for the renovation, and that if we were to use those funds, it would mean that you'd barely do anything to the rest of the site. And in brainstorming with stakeholders, and actually also Commissioner Cindy Wu, she suggested the Downtown Park Fund. I thought it was a really good idea. And so we began to prepare an estimate and a concept for the clubhouse. This clubhouse concept, again, it's much more integrated with the rest of the site. It takes away that bunker feeling that you have right now if you're inside, because there's a very tall, thin strip of windows at the top, so it's quite dark inside. And this opens it up to the street on Waverly, lets more light in, and also still has a large space at the bottom, but also has a bleacher kind of seating on the interior to both allow for folks to have spectator seating for ping pong and other activities that might take on, and also a place for youth to just frankly hang out. We find that the bleacher is actually one of the most attractive places at our sites for adolescents. There's also a top level which can be partitioned for multiple uses. So we're increasing the usable square footage inside the clubhouse while we do this. Okay, I think that's it. So our hope is, again, we had $6 million from the 2012 San Francisco Clean and Safe Neighborhood Parks Bond. We're asking for another $4 million, which is based on our most conservative estimates of what it would take to also deliver a clubhouse at this site. You'd have a combined budget of $10 million. If we can move forward in this process, if the funds are allocated, we'll go back to the community, have our final community meetings, and we'd hope we'd be on track to start construction in November. So that's our goal.
Thank you.
Ready for public comment?
Please.
November 17th. Sorry, just wanted to put that clarification.
We have from Supervisor Peskin's office, Connie Chan, if she could come on up. And then we are open for public comment. Anyone who would like to make public comment.
And a distinguished former employee of the Recreation Park.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Connie Chan. I'm aide to Supervisor Aaron Peskin. He is currently chairing the Government and Audit Oversight Committees, therefore he cannot be here in person, but he want to make sure that I send his letter of support to this project and that he would like me to read into record for him. Dear Commissioners, it is a pleasure to represent District 3, which includes one of the oldest and largest Chinatown in the United States. While our community has been leading the efforts to preserve Chinatown, it is also in need of capital improvements and expansion of open space. Willy Woo Woo Wong Park, formerly known as Chinese Children's Playground, is located in the heart of Chinatown and has been serving our Chinese American families in San Francisco for many generations. It is one of the very few public space and recreational facilities in a neighborhood that has some of the highest density in our city. In 2012, San Francisco voters allocated $6 million of Parks Bond to upgrade Willy Woo Woo Wong Park. Well, while the community is delighted to have the much-needed repairs to a deteriorating Chinatown Park, we know that this budget would not allow any improvements to its existing clubhouse, which provides essential free community services and affordable recreational programming to children, youth, and seniors living in the area. And many of them are low-income families and SRO residents. Without additional funding for renovation, the clubhouse would continue to be neglected. Therefore, with the support from our Chinatown residents and community advocates, and many you can see behind me, I support the allocation of $4 million of the downtown park funds for the renovation of the Willy Woo Woo Wong Clubhouse. I thank you in advance for your time to listen to our community's concern and for your consideration to meeting their needs by approving the allocation of these funds in the nick of time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment on this item? If so, come on up.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Mike Newman, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Wu Yi Children's Services. And we are pleased to be celebrating our 39th year of providing premier early childhood education within the Chinatown core. With that said, we represent not only children, but the families who have other children. And what we have here is an opportunity to polish a diamond which is in the rough. So Wu Yi completely throws its support behind this, and we hope that you do as well. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Henry. So I just want to share my thought about the park. I grew up in Chinatown. I always hang out at Willy Woo Woo Wong. Now sometimes I go down there and do outreach. Every time I went downstairs, I saw a lot of senior and little kids using the playground. And a lot of little kids only using the area outside. They don't want to go inside the clubhouse because the clubhouse is too old and they don't have air conditioning and no heater and no sunlight. And it's really difficult for kids to stay there for a couple hours for the summer program and stuff like that. And each day, I believe that more than like 200 people always drop by the Willy Woo Woo Wong and hang out there and chill with friends and play basketball and volleyball. So it's really important that you can remodel that, you know. I understand that a lot of different parks in Chinatown, people can easy to go there, but the Willy Woo Wong is kind of like kind of in the middle of Chinatown. It's really convenient for senior disability people to go there because we believe that we have like Benyong is all the way on the Mason. There's an uphill. Senior can go up there. But on Stockton Street, it's really convenient for them to take the bus and everything to go there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Morning, everyone. I'm a staff from CYC Community Youth Center, and I apologize for my poorly English skill, and I just want to share my opinion about the park and hopefully to get the fund to renovate the whole park. I work there almost every day from 10 to 6, and I saw a lot of problem or issue that we could help with. Recently, one of the ladies' rooms, the toilet door is missing. Someone took it home or whatever. So we only down to one toilet from the two, and a lot of children using the clubhouse and the park, and a lot of people playing ping pong in the clubhouse because the clubhouse is leaking. If you can see from the a picture, and a lot of people requesting more space to use. A lot of children playing there with the sand, and yeah, I hope you can pass this and we can get the money to renovate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
It doesn't say that.
It's okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Linda Liu and I am a staff at Chinese for Affirmative Action. We are in support of this additional $4 million funding for the Willy Woo Woo Wong playground because in Chinatown there it's a high-density neighborhood, so there's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of housing, and specifically SROs. And in these SROs, it's a limited amount of space where families can do activities. Therefore, they would bring their children and family members, seniors, to go to the playground to do activities. This park is a resource for community members who gather to do activities, and people of all ages, whether it's little kids, adults, or seniors, they go there to do different kind of activities and to mingle with one another. And it's also important to make it accessible, ADA accessible to people in the community that use this playground. So therefore, I urge you to vote in favor of this additional $4 million. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Breath, everyone. How's everybody feeling?
Good.
Are you appreciating your breath and sustaining your life? Because I am. My name is Eddie Zhang. I'm a former employee for the CYC. I'm also consulting for CYC's Bayview branch office currently. And I'm also at the Southeast Community Facility Commission as a commissioner. And it's a privilege for me to be working with the staff of CYC in the past 9 years, especially when we do an outreach program doing violence prevention in Chinatown. And Wuli Wu Wu is one of those places that a lot of young people hang out. And especially in the upper deck with the basketball court, that's the blind spot. When I talk to some of the law enforcement officers how to better engage with the young people out there, I always trying to point that out to them and say, hey, if anything happened up there, then nobody really can see it because that's a blind spot from there. And if you look at this beautiful view, standing on the upper deck, it's just breathtaking, right? So that's why a lot of family and children and elderlies are there to enjoy the space. And having open space and public space and the park and having maintenance for them is crucial for the nurturing environment that they need to find outside of their SRO homes, especially in Chinatown. So that's why even the sand area in the back on the ground floor is also another blind area when people can't really visibly see unless you're on the top. And many of the children also like to play and run around playing different type of games. And so it's not just for Chinese residents, even though it's located in Chinatown, it's accessible to everyone, the tourists, even though some of the local communities. We saw many of the Caucasians, African Americans, Latinos, they also play in there, and they have, they're trying to scale the walls, right? So one of the activities they do is trying to see who can scale highest, right? So with the new design, I feel that it's not only going to improve the infrastructure, but it's also going to bring more family members to come in and become a more safer community. And that's how we're going to keep people from, littering, getting people from not take ownership of the spaces that we need to have in San Francisco. So thank you very much for your consideration. A yes vote is a vote for you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Double the time.
I'm also translating today, too.
各位早晨，你哋好嗎？
Everyone, good morning. How are you?
我名叫專餐廳，
His name is Jun Santan.
我係住響華埠嘅散放家庭。
He lives in the Chinatown SRO.
我有兩個仔女，
He has 2 kids.
平時得閒都會帶兩個仔女咧響華埠嘅公園度玩嗰啲康樂設施。
He loves to bring his kids to the playground and enjoying the clubhouse.
嗰個公園咧重建咧，亦都有參與嗰個設計方案個修改啊，同埋其他俾意見咁。
He also has actually attended the clubhouse or the playground renovation community design meeting.
但係響華埠咧個人口居住好密集。
Chinatown has a very dense population.
因為嗰個設計方案咧係經費唔夠，所以好多功能咧都會因為經費唔夠咧，所以唔可以做。
Because the limited budget for the renovation budget, therefore a lot of features cannot be included.
咁如果呢度有400萬撥款過嚟咧，咁個設計可能會理想好多咯。
But with the $4 million, then perhaps the renovation and the design will be much more ideal.
多謝。
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment on this item? Okay, being none, public comment is closed.
Commissioner Wu, did you want to?
Thank you. So I want to thank Rec Park and planning staff and all the public that came out. This is a great opportunity to improve this public asset. 40% of housing in Chinatown is SROs. There are families living in SROs. I think that it makes open space even more important. It's not just a place for recreation, but really acts as living rooms for these families. Willy Woo is a very well-used, very well-loved playground and really deserves to have the best caliber of design and amenities for the community. So very supportive.
Commissioner Richards.
Thank you very much, everybody from the public, for coming out. It's great to hear from you. I think not allocating this $4 million only gets us halfway there. We do the exterior, the playground, yet we have kind of a white elephant in terms of a clubhouse sitting on the site that really needs to be brought into the modern era and opened up and filled with light and filled with people who want to go in there. So absolutely very supportive of this.
Commissioner Antonini.
Thank you. Very supportive, wonderful project. Just have a couple of brief questions. The first question is, I know some clubhouses throughout the city have been farmed out during the week for other private uses, and I would assume this is not going to happen at this clubhouse. It's going to be open to the public at all times. Is that true or false?
I think that in terms of our clubhouses are not being used for private uses right now. We have public uses in them in terms of community partnerships, and I think the model we would pursue here would be similar to that which we just accomplished at Bodecker Park, actually, where we have partnerships with the YMCA and with the Boys and Girls Club, and they're providing programming at the site. I think it's yet to be determined precisely what combination of partnerships we would be pursuing, and I'm happy to let our General Manager, Phil Ginsburg, speak to this point, too.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just so everybody understands, we have about 42 clubhouses which are distinguished from our larger recreation centers, which are multi-room, multi-program, where most of our recreation staff is consolidated because of the diversity of program we can provide. We are programming a number of clubhouses in the city with after-school enrichment programs, but we also really work with community partners who are in the community that are providing a specific service. So all of our clubhouses are very much open for public use. Some uses focused on teens, or some uses are focused on tots, some are focused on seniors, but they're important community assets and they're very much available.
No, thank you. Just to follow up, I just know one particular clubhouse that you have to in order to utilize the program, it's some kind of language thing, but you have to pay to get into that program. And for other children or other people in the neighborhood, it's closed during those hours for their use.
Yeah, there's a language immersion program in one of our clubhouses. They have a very robust scholarship program, and they target a certain community, but that clubhouse is actually also open for community use and for special events on weekends and evenings. That program is extremely popular.
No, I'm not saying it isn't, but the concern that I've heard is kids used to be able to go in there and they had directors and anybody could go. You didn't have to pay to get into a program, and it kind of focuses on only one group and one language thing that, not everyone has to take advantage of.
Again, like we do throughout all of our recreation centers, and all of our programs have certain specific focuses and certain, subject matter and certain competencies and target certain types of populations. If you look at our entire system, we are focused on program and services for all neighborhoods, all ages. So this is one particular program that is a language immersion program for tots. It's one of our 42 clubhouses.
Sure. No, my only concern in regards to this was to make sure that this particular facility is always open to all and would not be closed up for a particular use, not allowing other members of the community to get in there for certain hours.
Okay.
And the second question I have is, I should know this, who was Willy Woo Woo Wong and why has he got the woo-woo in there?
He's a basketball player.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
A very famous basketball player that played at USF.
50s, yeah.
Played at USF.
Okay. Should know that. I'm kind of familiar with the USF history, but I just didn't remember.
He's more famous than the president of your commission.
Ouch.
And actually, on that,
Let's have some order in here.
on that topic, since we introduced the subject of basketball, I don't know if commissioners are aware of this. At Willy Woo Playground on the basketball court was filmed a very incredible basketball commercial featuring the one and only Steph Curry. Which is pretty cool.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lowe.
All right, Rodney, you could name the beach volleyball court somewhere. I just wanted to say that since this is a high-needs neighborhood with a great need for open space and recreation by youth, seniors, and families, and since we've reopened the clubhouse, it has been an amazing success. There are ping pong players, kids, go visit the clubhouse on a Wednesday morning. There's over 300 residents using the facility. It has been a tremendous success, and I've participated in 3 workshops, and the designs have really evolved, and the architects and the landscape architects have really taken into account the community needs and has come up with a design that really accommodates the needs and services for the community. So I think this $4 million will go a long way to achieving a lot of the community's needs in this area, and I believe that when the clubhouse is built, seniors, families, and youth will come and use it, and it will be a thriving hub for the community. I'm fully supporting this.
Commissioner Moore.
I'm in full support of it, partially because I've walked by this playground for the last 40-plus years, at least twice a day, and I've always wondered why it was so stark and minimal in its expression. There is no green, there is no nothing, but there's an enthusiastic and very, very large population using it. And particularly when you come to the intersection of Sacramento and Stockton, waiting at the bus, you watch people playing tennis and doing all the different things through the cycle of the day. It proves as being a viable space for many years. It lagged in maintenance and attention for the entire time. I believe now with Chinatown YMCA renovation, this is a long overdue bookend across the street, because the 2 facilities where people are in one and walk across to use the open space is basically, it doesn't take an Einstein to realize that it's necessary, desirable, and requires full support which I believe is long overdue. I love the idea to reaffirm and manifest a vibrant neighborhood, and I am very strongly in support to see the alley, which is at the west end of the open space, become a more active passage and transition between Sacramento and Clay and Grand and the rest of Chinatown. I do believe that Stockton in that block is too busy, but that tourists and locals would be very comfortable really embracing the area alongside a more beautiful open space. So congratulations to all of this comprehensive effort, and I'm delighted to support it in all and every way.
Thank you. Commissioner Levitin.
I just wanted to add a note of thanks to Commissioner Cindy Wu for having the brilliant idea of using the Downtown Park Fund for this purpose, and this is a very appropriate use of those funds. And really, and that $4 million gets us over the finish line on this. So thank you for that. We thank you in Parks and Rec.
Great. I just want to add, obviously, in support, and I think what Commissioner Lowe is joking about is I actually spent a lot of time on this playground. This was my clubhouse. What folks know and some don't know, that there's a very large international volleyball competition called 9-Man Volleyball, which rotates in different cities: Toronto, Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, and San Francisco. And so this was our home court when San Francisco hosted these games, and San Francisco teams took great pride in hosting them. So for 15 or so years, we used those tennis courts as a volleyball court, the cage, we used to call it. And, this, Commissioner Moore, the Waverly Alley may be the original green wall in San Francisco with all of the bok choy that's on the fences there. So it's used by just so many different people. And I think it's great that Steph Curry's commercial was there. When you guys are there, you hear kids playing. If you just close your eyes for a second, you hear kids playing. You hear mahjong tiles upstairs in the alley, in Waverly Alley. You hear conversation, old and young. And so I think it's just great that Steph Curry used that as a background. It's a quintessential urban park, and to in large degree represent San Francisco. So I'm very proud to be supportive of this.
Commissioner Antonini.
I'd like to move to approve the allocation on behalf of the Planning Commission.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Do we?
Is there a
Separate.
vote by the?
Separate.
Separate?
Separate.
So shall we move forward on that with all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. We just do things a little slightly differently. But on that motion, then, Commissioners, to allocate funding to the Willy Woo Woo Wong Park, Commissioner Antonini.
Aye.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
Commissioner Richards.
Aye.
And Commission President Fong.
Aye.
So moved, Commissioners. That motion passes unanimously, 5-0.
Now the Rec and Park Commission will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you very much, and congratulations to everybody involved. Do we need to adjourn, Margaret?
We do.
Is there
So moved.
Second.
To adjourn.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Like your style.
Great.
I like your style.
Oh.